Hello and welcome to this, the first of two Dads Take 5 and Chat video sessions on additional needs parenting. My name's Mark Arnold. I'm the Additional Needs Ministry Director at Urban Saints, co-founder of the Additional Needs Alliance. I blog as the Additional Needs blogfather.com. But more important than all of those things is that I am dad to James, who is autistic, has learning disability, and has epilepsy. So a range of different additional needs going on for James and within our family. We're going to be in these sessions exploring some questions that dads have about additional needs parenting, about their role in the family, about the family unit as a whole and how we engage in different ways with the family. We've got 6 questions to work through, 3 in each session. So let's get cracking and have a look at our first question together, shall we? Where do we fit in as guys, as dads? What is our role? It's a really important question, isn't it? And it's a question that guys struggle with and find hard. You know, what is our role within the family? What do we do? Where do we position ourselves? How much do we get involved in the things that are going on within the family unit as a whole? And I guess that depends quite a bit on whether we are a dad that's there in the family unit all the time, or whether we just see our children on a more occasional basis. But whatever our position with that, I think the most important thing for us as dads, as guys, in that relationship with our kids is to be present, is to be there for them, is to be there with them as much as we possibly can. You know, we know that our kids need that too. We know that they thrive in that relationship if we're able to invest that time with them. And so being present as much as we can, being available to them, being able to turn up to parents' evenings, to appointments, to as much as we can is really important in helping them to just build that relationship with us and for us to build that relationship with them. So being present, being around is the number one thing that I would suggest that we do as dads, as guys. Number 2, I would say, would be to be honest, to be honest with our partners, to be honest with our friends, to be honest with each other, to say, sometimes this is hard. So often as dads, we try to be the tough one, the one that's holding it all together, the strong one, the one that's, whilst everybody else is finding it hard and falling apart, we're the ones that are trying to be, the strong, tough guy. Whereas actually, in reality, we're hurting inside just as much as everybody else is. And so sometimes it's important for us to be honest about that and to be vulnerable as we do that too, because by being honest and vulnerable, actually what we're saying is, we're all in this together. We struggle together, we thrive together, we support each other. None of us is better than the other. We're all finding things hard. But by being willing to talk about that stuff, and hey, as guys, we're rubbish at talking about things, aren't we? We're rubbish at opening up. I think that this is a thing that we need to do better and to be better at. Let's try and be more honest, more vulnerable with each other, with our partners, with our friends. And probably the third thing that is so important for us as guys, as dads, to get right is to be positive role models for our kids, to show them how to be good fathers, to show them how to be loving and caring and supportive and nurturing, to show them where the boundaries are, and to be fair and good at keeping those boundaries and doing that well. It's important that our kids understand, when they've done things wrong, and that we love them in that. But at the same time, we want them to do better, and we want to teach them and show them how. And so keeping those boundaries and doing that well is something that's really important for us as dads too. Our second question, what about our other kids? How do we meet their needs for some time with dad? Well, that's a really big question too, isn't it? Those of us that have other children are going to know that there's a lot of demand on our time for our child or children that have additional needs, and sometimes with the busyness of everything else that's going on, that can squeeze time that we can spend, really good quality time that we can spend with our other kids. But it's so important that we invest in them too. We don't want our kids to grow up saying that we were never there for them. We only ever cared for or were around for their brother or sister with additional needs, that we never had time for them, and for them to resent the time that we spend with their brother or their sister. So it's important that we look at ways of investing time with all of our children, looking for those key moments that we can be there for them. And again, that might be parents' evenings and appointments and other things that they might have. Now, are there key activities or events that they're taking part in? Do they do sports or dance or whatever it might be? Is there a performance or a game or something that we can be at, and we can make sure that that's the priority for us that day. As well as our son James, we've got our daughter Phoebe. And Phoebe right now is going through the process of her A-levels and looking at what university to go to. And it's been great to be on that journey with her, to go to university open days with her and just invest in that quality time with Phoebe, and to see her really thrive and delight in that time together, to really appreciate that we're investing in her and recognizing her needs and the way in which she's growing and developing, and actually putting some time in to help her in that. So making sure that we're there for all of our children is so important. We can often overlook the fact that our other children can often be junior carers for their brother or sister with additional needs or disabilities. Phoebe's great at helping to look after James and to support James, and now she's reached an age where she can childmind sometimes for us whilst we go out. But there are times when, because we have a child with additional needs, there are things that we just don't get to do, or things that change on the day, and many of you will recognise that. It just all falls apart on the day, and plans that we had, things that we hoped to do, all go out the window. And that can be hard on our other children. They can often make sacrifices because they are part of a family where there's a brother or sister with additional needs or disabilities. And so recognising those sacrifices that they make, recognising the things that they miss out on, recognising the support and help that they provide us as parents by being a junior carer for their brother or sister. Now, really important that we do all of that, that we acknowledge that we thank them for that we recognise the things that they do all the time to help out, and that we're there for them to support them and help them. Sometimes that can be really frustrating. Being a brother or sister of a child with additional needs can be really tough. And sometimes our other kids need somebody to offload to about all of that. And that can't always be mum or dad. Sometimes we're just too close to it ourselves, and our other kids might just find it too hard to talk to us about that stuff. So making sure that there's somebody that they can blow off steam to. It might be another family member, a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle or somebody. It might be a family friend, it might be a youth worker or a children's worker, just somebody that they can share with and just offload at and just let it all out to can be really helpful and supportive to them. So yeah, let's recognise our other kids, the things that matter to them, and be there for them as much as we can too. And our third question for this session is, how does this work within the wider context of the whole family, getting it right for everyone? So leading on really from what we've just been talking about our other kids, we've talked about our children that have additional needs or disabilities. We've talked about our other children, if we have those as well. How does that all work within the context of the whole family, including our partners? Sometimes getting that balance right can be really challenging, can't it? It can be really difficult. Because we can sometimes be torn between all the things we're trying to get right. We've got work commitments, we've got other commitments, and trying to sort of manage all of that can be really hard. I don't know about you, but sometimes I find myself being a bit of a circus juggler, trying to keep all the balls in the air. And you know what? Sometimes they all drop. Because you know what it's like with juggling, when it all starts to go wrong, then it really goes wrong quickly and everything ends up a mess. And that can be life, and that can be what it's like. But sometimes, again, just that honesty, that vulnerability comes through again. Just, gathering the family together and talking stuff through can make a big difference. What can be really harmful, what can be really destructive, what can be toxic in a family situation is where there's no communication. Where there's been a big row about something, a big bust up, and resentments and bad feeling, everybody storms off in different directions, there's slamming doors, there's people stewing in their own rooms, there's no communication going on at all, and that just builds resentment and anger, and that can just be toxic. That can just lead to all kinds of long-term difficulties within the family. So actually, when that sort of stuff starts to happen, calling it out for what it is and saying, hey guys, this is tough, we're all finding this really hard. Let's not get into blaming each other, let's not get into a shouting, slanging match. Let's just talk about this. Let's get together and talk this through, and understand that maybe we sometimes got things wrong too, and be open and willing to own up to that, and be able to find ways of working through that together. Because now, if we can, in that wider context of the family, get that balance right, if we can make sure that we're there for our kids with additional needs, that we're supporting them, that we're there for them for the key times, the key moments in their day, in their week, in their year, when they really need us, when they really appreciate us being there. If we can do that for all of our kids, if we can do that for our partners too, then that's really important. And the best way of achieving that is communication and planning, and making sure that we're getting on top of this stuff. Now, how about making sure that we schedule some time to spend with our partners too, looking for ways in which we can maybe get somebody to come and childmind the kids for an evening, so that we can, as partners, just go out and invest some time in that relationship. Because investing time in our relationship, I think, is probably the key to all of those questions that we've just looked at. Whether it's with our kids with additional needs, whether it's our kids that don't have additional needs, whether it's with our partners. Because there's that old saying that nobody went to their grave saying, oh, I wish I'd given less time to my family and more time to my career, or to going out and socialising with my mates. Actually, the thing that people regret is not giving enough time to their family, and that's hard, and it takes planning and it takes communication, but we can do that, and in doing that we can see the benefits of that. So as we wrap up this first video session on additional needs parenting for Dads Take 5 and Chat, let's have a think about that, maybe have a conversation with each other about how you can invest more time with all of the members of your family, how you can plan that and prepare that, how you can be more honest about how you're feeling, about how things are, and talking things through and being more vulnerable. How you can be a better role model to everybody in the family, including all of your children. Showing them how to be a good dad, a loving and caring dad, a dad who knows and sets what the boundaries are, but does that fairly and does that in a way that everybody understands and can follow. But more than anything, is a dad who's there, who's present, and is a part of that family unit in some way. So have a conversation about that, and there'll be a second Dads Take 5 and Chat video session with 3 more questions that we'll explore as dads together. Thanks, and see you then.